Week 6 is coming on in the NFL, so let's go back, take a look, see how some of these rookies fared. I promise you there was good and there were bad performances, but there's only one place we can start because we had two new starting quarterbacks from this past rookie class start this week. So let's go ahead and talk about Drake Maye, the Patriots' future, the franchise, some would say. Got the start, and you know what? Wasn't as ugly as I thought it'd be. Matter of fact, it was very promising. It was. Granted, New England was is tamed the word? I feel like tamed is the word. But tamed with their approach with Drake Maye. As you go back, you'll look. Okay, average depth of target, 5.8. That makes sense. He only took one deep shot. Good for him. Ends up being a tutty. But I thought it was a good approach, man. I thought he came in. He didn't get frazzled. I'm not saying there weren't mistakes. There certainly were. I mean, he had 2 interceptions. But it was an impressive outing for Drake Maye. It was an encouraging outing considering, well, the offensive line for the New England Patriots. I mean, let's just go ahead. Let's take a gander at who was along that offensive front this week for the Patriots. As, of course, you got Michael Wayne, who's playing at right guard, actually, in this game. Demontre Jacobs has started a few games this year, but he was a toolsy prospect. He was a very unpolished, but oh, wow, he's got great length. When he was coming out of South Florida, I don't know how long was it. Was it a year? Was it 2 years ago? But you knew he was that wasn't going to go well. You had Zach Thomas, who I think has been playing guard most of his career, have to step in and play a majority of the snaps at left tackle because Lowe got hurt. Michael Jordan, not the Michael Jordan you're thinking of, a much worse version. He was playing there at left guard. And of course, you got Ben Brown because David Andrews out for the season. So, like, this is not a good offensive line, but I thought he did a good job not to panic. It was very encouraging, and I'm just kind of hoping he doesn't take too much punishment. But the other quarterback that played was Spencer Rattler, and I thought he did a good job. His average depth of target was a little bit deeper because he found himself in a freaking shootout with Baker Laser Mayfield. And Rattler, he kind of had to put the ball in harm's way to kind of get the Saints back in the game. He took quite a few deep shots. Unfortunately, he only really connected with one of them. I think he was 1 for 5 on passes of 20 yards or more. And he definitely dealt with a lot more drops. He had 3 drops on the day from his receivers, his pass catchers. But I thought he did a good job getting the ball out quickly. Did force some reads, but I mean, we're talking about what? He was a 5th rounder. I think he ended up going in the 5th because I was shocked. I thought he would go much earlier. I thought he'd be like a 3rd rounder, but he ends up going in the 5th. This is a 5th rounder, and he looked good. Put up 243 yards, which is kind of weird because so did Drake Maye. So very, very, very unusual. Unfortunately, didn't have some of the touchdowns. Lost Chris Olave early. I could shout out Bub Means here, but Bub Means kind of stepped up, had a solid game outside of the fumble. I think he had the fumble. Can't recall. Watched too much football this week, but I thought Rattler did solid, man. Thought he did solid. Thought it was a positive outing. Everybody loves the NFL draft, and I know you want to be familiar with every potential prospect that your team may draft. So I got good news for you. My draft guide is available for purchase. It is good throughout the entire draft cycle, and it updates through the season regularly. You'll get my current evals and rankings on hundreds of different players with player backgrounds and analytics. It also contains combine and pro day numbers, as well as my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. You can purchase it for a one-time payment of $30 on PayPal, Venmo, and now I have the Cash App. Follow the link in the description and be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. That is how I share it with you. So please don't make me hunt down your email. Just don't do it. Anywho, it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Ray Davis got the start Monday night for the injured James Cook, and he looked hella good. I thought they'd probably lean on, was it Ty Johnson? Typically the backup run back there. But Ray Davis had himself a day, going for 20 carries for 97 yards, 3 receptions, 55 yards receiving. Absolutely insane. And he was tough to bring down. 7 forced missed tackles on the day. Golly. Sure, the pass protection wasn't great, but I mean, hey, if he could go out there, run the basic run back route tree, be a good receiver, then great. But I mean, I think he's legitimately now worked himself into getting a nice chunk of the workload, at least a decent set of the workload there with James Cook when he's healthy. Again, missed the game with the toe injury, but this was a guy I liked coming out of Kentucky. May not have been fancy, but someone that consistently drove his feet upon contact, had good vision, would hit it with good acceleration. Maybe not the greatest launch speed, but still, I thought hella good. And hey, looked great in this game. And then I do want to talk about one more running back specifically, Bucky Irving. I feel like I've talked about him before, that, he's eating into Rachaad White's workload, and maybe he'll soon overtake him, but at the very least, he's getting like a 50-50 split. And Rachaad White out this game. I think it was the groin injury, right? That kept him out. I can't remember, but Rachaad White probably should be a little concerned, because he wasn't very successful on the ground, and I think he brings a good receiving aspect to him as a pass catcher. But not just Bucky Irving, but also Sean Tucker, who I liked in the 2023 NFL draft coming out of Syracuse, ends up falling because of a medical issue. I can't remember what it is specifically. It ends up being a UDFA. But they both had great games. Bucky Irving ended up going for 14 carries, 81 yards and a touchdown. You had Sean Tucker on 14 carries go for 136 yards and a touchdown. Bucky Irving had the insane, the Bucky quake, where he was forcing missed tackles, changed the direction of the field. Marshall Lattimore making a great play to minimize what was already a huge gain, but Bucky Irving ended up having like 6 forced missed tackles in this game. Sean Tucker was constantly ripping off 10-yard gains. I don't know what happened to the Saints defense this week. I know they were missing like a couple players, but still, this was a rough showing. But I feel like Bucky Irving and now potentially Sean Tucker, they're probably your 1-2 back. And when you go to the maybe when you go to your passing plays, maybe you move to Rachaad White. But even then, Bucky Irving had 24 yards through the air. Tucker had 56. It was absolutely insane. Now, hey, let's see if this is something sustainable, but I think it's something worth moving forward with. Like, okay, there's our 1-2 punch. Sean Tucker, Bucky Irving, maybe sprinkle in a little Rachaad White out there. If you're a Rachaad White fantasy owner, I would be terrified. I would be scared. But of course, with the good comes the bad. And Zak Zinter, unfortunately, has been not great this year. And he was probably one of those prospects where you thought, or at least assumed, he was a bit more pro-ready, right? And that's just unfortunately not been the case. He allowed 3 pressures, a sack. This was on 31 pass blocking snaps. And he just hasn't looked good. I think this is his 2nd or 3rd start this season. This is his... he technically didn't even start this game, but this is like his 4th start this year. And I don't really think he's had a good game thus far this year. Just don't. And I get it. Philly's a tough matchup. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, they wreak a lot of havoc. The week prior, it's Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne. So maybe this is unfair. He is a rookie. I really want to preface this. He is a rookie. There shouldn't be he's a 3rd round rookie. There shouldn't be a high expectation. And you just should, at this point, hope that he gets better as the season goes on. But I mean, he lost like 8% of his pass rush snaps in this game. It was rough sledding. And to be fair, offensive line, typically you see those bumps and lumps early in the rookie years, and we won't really be able to take anything away until the second half of the season and see if there's anything positive to pull. Are they trending in the right direction? Even if it's like marginal, you know? But yeah, not a great day for Zak Zinter. We're actually going to stick with the offensive line with Cooper Beebe. Listen, Cooper Beebe has had better days, but on this day, he got fleeced. Allowed 3 pressures. This was on 53 pass blocking snaps. They had to pass a lot. They were down a lot early on in the game. And I mean, dude, on top of that, it's not like he was doing much in terms of the run game either. Like Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, these guys were just eating the defensive interior for the Cowboys alive. It was a bad game altogether for the Cowboys. But listen, Cooper Beebe, he's had good games this year. You should expect some of the bumps and lumps. Again, I just want to re-echo what I said previously when it comes to offensive linemen. So I'm just saying the dude had a bad week. Tease what it is. It is what it is. But let's go back to being positive, right? Let's go back to being positive. And let's talk about Renardo Green. He played Thursday night against the Seattle Seahawks, and he did a hell of a good job. I mean, hell of a good job. He ends up only allowing, like 5 receptions on 11 targets for 57 yards. Did allow the touchdown to Tyler Lockett, but I mean, that was just a veteran fleecing a rookie. Like it was, because it was in the red zone. It was like a 9-yard touchdown, if I'm remembering that correctly. It was real close to the end zone. Just want to look and make sure. Yeah, it was a 9-yard touchdown. So basically, he runs kind of a thick hook or a thick stick play. So he just runs down. He tries to get Renardo to take depth to the end zone. So basically, just kind of like play deep into the end zone. So he'll have all this room where he could like fall down, make a play coming back to the ball, and still be in the end zone. But when he did that, he kind of hit him with a little shove at the stem, and then just like spun out, and it caught Renardo Green like not by surprise, but caused him to slip, lose his balance. It was a great veteran play. It was great veteran route running. But Renardo Green did a hell of a good job against DK. To be fair, DK got in his own way for much of this game, but only allowed 1 reception for 8 yards. Absolutely stellar. And that's him via DK. But Renardo Green saw a bevy of different players and different body types, whether it was like Jackson Smith and Njigba having to deal with the crafty route runner, or Tyler Lockett having to deal with the crafty route runner with lots of speed, or DK Metcalf having to deal with the big bully on campus who's going to run straight real fast. And I thought he did a great job, man. And I was like, man, it really sucks we're not going to be able to see Renardo Green this season because they got Diamador Lenore and Arvarius Ward, which coincidentally, both those guys, free agents after the season. So this was an encouraging outing for the rookie and for the Niners in general. But I'm going to stick with the corner position with Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who's playing hella good football. I'm pretty sure he, I don't know if he started per se. Did he get the starts with Awuzie down last week? He did. So he got the start. But that was against the Dolphins and Tyler Huntley and was it? Yeah, it was. Feels like it was so long ago. And Tyler Huntley. Yeah. Because Skylar Thompson started against the Seahawks. But against Tyler Huntley, you're not going to really learn much from that game. This, though, I mean, you're dealing with Joe Flacco flinging the ball every which way. And, like, straight up, like, Brownlee did a hell of a good job. And they're letting him play sticky, press, in the face. Like one of the routes he did allow, because he ended up allowing 3 catches, I believe, on 7 targets. Let me just go confirm that. Yeah, he allowed 3 catches on 7 targets for 12 yards. Had 2 pass breakups in this game. One of the catches he allowed was a bubble screen to Adonai Mitchell, which he just ate up. Like, they tried to block him, and he was like, nah, I'm feisty. I'm going to get after it. That was my guy. I'm tearing him down to the freaking ground. And he did a great job of that. There was another play where it was just kind of what was Josh Downs getting some quick yards underneath. So it was kind of whatever. Like, he's looked really good. And this was someone I also liked. I think I had a 3rd round grade on him during the draft cycle. Let me just go confirm. Let me just go confirm that was the 2024 NFL draft. So Jarvis Brownlee. He was my corner 11 with a 3rd round grade. Oh my gosh, I was high on a lot of the corners in this class. Renardo Green, he was corner 9 for me, and I had a midday 2 grade on him. Same with Kamari Lassiter, who was 10. Like, honestly, it's kind of this middle group of like TJ Tampa, Max Melton, and it's Rakestraw Jr., who we haven't really seen much from. Oh, that's not true with Max Melton, but it's like the honestly, along with like Carson Phillips, who was my 12th, like those 4 have really impressed. Okay. But yeah, no, Brownlee's playing great football. Great football, man. I love it. I love it. And we're going to stick with defense with a Tykee Smith, slot corner out of Tampa. And dude, he is flourishing in that role. When they drafted him, I was like, okay, what does that mean about Christian Eisen? And he's been playing safety. Granted, it's been because Antoine Winfield's been hurt. But like Tykee Smith's done a hell of a good job. He had 5 tackles, 3 pressures in this game, 2 defensive stops. He had an interception and a pass breakup. And I do want to give another shout out to who was the other Tampa corner? He was a rookie started. Tyreek Funderburk. He was at, I believe, Appalachian State. Oh, he didn't get the start, but he ended up having to come in because of injury, but looked really good. Like, I get it. He ends up allowing an eventual touchdown, but like, honestly, for a guy that's a UDFA, come in and see significant playing time because of injury. Oh, wow. Like, not that half bad. This was someone that Ian Cummins actually really liked. So I wanted to give him a shout out. I just didn't think he played nearly as well as Tykee Smith, and that's why I'm talking about Tykee Smith now. Tykee Smith, man, he's phenomenal in the slot. Like, low key, like his range is not as limited as you would think, and especially when you put him underneath. Like, he's got more of a sideline to sideline than actually like moving up and down the field. He's got that type of range, and he's such a good run defender too. Like, low key, the Bucks have kind of been hitting on some of their defensive picks in the draft. You can think of like Yaya Diaby and whatnot, Antoine Winfield, who we were just talking about, Jameel Dean, Zion McCullen. Like, dude, can we talk about the Bucks and drafting right now? Golly. This is a name I can almost guarantee most of y'all haven't heard of because it was a shock to me. And that is Isaac. Is it Ukwu? Ukwu? Ukwu. I don't know. I'll get the name down because I think you might see some more playing time now since Aiden Hutchinson is out for the season. But I was like, okay, why this guy? I mean, I get why he probably saw snaps because, well, for one, the Cowboys got plastered, got destroyed. But for 2, like, now you're going to be looking for someone to step up with the absence of you were already missing Marcus Davenport for the season. Now Aiden Hutchinson. Someone's got to step up. So I just kind of want to throw him as a name out there because he did play a lot of snaps this past weekend as he was on the field for 36 snaps. 25 of it was as a pass rusher. He had a pressure and a defensive stop. Had a pass rush win rate of 13%. By no means, not a bad pass rush win rate, but certainly probably more of a like, okay, maybe you can be a potential starter, probably more rotation. And I mean, that's how he's going to be utilized as a rotation player. But what I noticed about him, like, because he was almost always a bull rush. I was like watching some of his stuff. But he does come off as really strong. He is someone that really grinded during training camp because I was like, okay, let's get real deep into it. Let's because he wasn't even someone on my radar as a prospect. Wasn't even on my radar. Wasn't, I believe, not even on my draft guide. Let me just go confirm that. Make sure I'm not just, saying things to say things. Yeah, he was not on my draft guide last year. So like I was very fascinated. And like apparently he did really well in camp this off season. Ended up being able to earn himself not a roster spot initially, but a spot on the practice squad. Gets called up after Marcus Davenport's injury. Well, maybe not directly after, because this is the first time he's seen actual action this year. But I thought it was a good showing, and now you're going to be looking for those guys to step up. This is so wild that I didn't watch this guy. I'm curious about what his production was at Ole Miss, because I watched a lot of Cedric Johnson last season. So I'm like kind of shook, kind of shocked. Oh, wow. This guy was in college football since 2017? That's insane. Who was he playing it for in 2017? Oh, I don't know. But he was at James Madison the year prior, 2022. I mean, dude, he was actually fairly decent. 32 pressures for Ole Miss last season. 5 sacks. Dang, why didn't I watch you? And like he produced well at James Madison. See, this is the thing, man. Sometimes you're just not able to watch everybody. And guys slip through the cracks. Not going to say he's going to be like a superstar or anything, but I think it's encouraging. I think it's encouraging for a team that just not only did you lose, oh man, this guy, Marcus Davenport, but oh man, you lost your pass rush. Straight up, you lost half of your pass rush because Aiden Hutchinson was that dominant this year. But let's talk about some of the honorable mentions. Of course, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, they both had great games. Got to highlight them. I feel like I'm going to start highlighting quarterbacks less unless they have just like crazy games. Or if there's like something specifically we can take away from a performance. Isaac Garendo, he had the long run. Props to him. Love that. Should have slid. I guess he thought Thailand was telling him to slide so they could just tick the clock down. But nope, instead, Kyle Juszczyk comes in. Vultures a touchdown for Garendo. It is what it is. Tyrone Tracy's playing really good for the Giants. There's going to be a discussion when Devin Singletary comes back that how much of the workload does Tyrone Tracy deserve? Because he's been playing good football and like both the running and pass catching. Kamani Vidal. Okay, granted, Vidal, he really only had one big pop play. It was the touchdown, but still, I gotta shout him out, man. Gotta shout him out. Ends up getting the nice long tutty. Love to see that. Now with Gus Edwards down, I wonder how big his workload can get. I mean, hey, guys. I mean, hey, J.K. Dobbins is a guy. I'm just saying. I liked Vidal during the draft process. I mentioned Bub Means a little bit earlier. Joe Alt returned to action, looked good against the Broncos, and that's a good defense there. Dalton Tucker former tackle for Marshall, played guard for the Colts this past week and actually looked pretty good. You got Mike Sainer still ended up having a pick, playing really well in the slot for the Commanders. Malik Mustafa, I don't know what the extent is of the injury, unfortunately, but hopefully it's nothing serious. But he's been playing really good football, and I felt like I needed to give him a shout out. I feel like there's going to be a lot of guys I missed this week. But I don't feel like anyone had like a jaw-dropping performance outside of some of the guys I previously mentioned. But outside of that, I don't think there was anything too crazy. But I'm probably missing something. Go ahead. Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.